So welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews where we discuss with local business leaders, their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this afternoon, I'm delighted that we have back with us Samrien Hussain, who's the director at TikTok and Tock. So firstly, Sam, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and TikTok Unlock to the audience, what you do and how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Thanks, Chris, for having me back, first of all. So TikTok Unlock we started off as live escape games, but we've changed our concept to the Library of Broken Books, which is a new format of escape rooms. So rather than being stuck in a traditional escape room for 60 minutes, you're actually going through multiple themed or highly themed rooms. And rather than escaping, you're collecting keys. So for us, the idea of changing your concept, first of all, through a higher throughput. Secondly, being stuck to one linear theme got a little bit boring for people. So we wanted to give them a little bit more excitement, fun, and it's heavily storytelling, including immersive theatre. So you're not just stuck to the escape rooms. You have game shows, escape rooms, and immersive theatre combined. So that's what we're doing at the moment.
Sounds amazing. Sounds absolutely amazing. I know one or two people that have come along and really enjoyed it, and as he said it was quite a different experience to
really? Oh, okay.
they were expecting, which was great. They really loved it. And when we spoke to, we obviously spoke last year about where you were then, and I'm really keen to know what's changed for you in the business since we last spoke.
Yes, I think we was in the process of the launch, or had we just? We was in the process of the launch.
I think so. Yes.
So we opened with phase one, which was our adventure and fantasy genre. So the idea, obviously, it was to open, just to introduce the concept, to tell people more about what we're doing. And I think when you introduce something new, it's trying to break those barriers of.
Yes.
People are so used to the traditional escape rooms, they're still going to see us as an escape room, which they do. And that's for us to change that frame of mind that it isn't. So we launched, did like a bit of a soft launch to see how it would go, also get like customer feedback, etc. We started off really well. We did have some teething problems due to obviously certain games that we had created that got changed in the process. So there was a lot of learning for us implementing the game style games. I think that was a huge learning for us. Again, we went through the whole process of hiring the right people for the experience. And we went through a lot of, I think, being a small business and the venue that we acquired. I think that was a very lengthy process. And not only that, because it's an old bank vault, which we acquired, which is a bit of a quirky venue, which at the time was like, this is the dream, it's fantastic, but they come with their own challenges. So, so obviously negotiating that, going through the whole process a year before acquiring the venue, and then after, then dealing with more, obviously, things and throughout the process. That was, as a founder, going through all that was quite challenging, but again, we overcome it. We opened with a Library of Broken Books, and we had more challenges because we had some leaks in the premises. Which is still ongoing, and I think it's like, how do you deal with that, and you're constantly going back and forth so it doesn't affect you in how you trade and just the experience in general. And so I think that still is going on, and last week we had one of the sewage pipes break, so but it's okay, we're still on that high and we love what we're doing, but you have to just overcome it and think it's a phase that you go through. So I think the biggest challenge isn't the actual experience and what we created. It was more to do with the venue and the challenges around the venue, and when you have to be dealing with, obviously, trying to get in touch with the landlords, or how do
Yeah.
we deal with situations. So I think that takes up a lot of your time because
Yes.
you're going constant back and forth. Just regarding the experience, like we've got an amazing team who like they've come from like a immersive theatre background, from gaming. We've got like a mixture. And there was a lot of teething problems when we first started. Obviously, what you have, the vision that you have, and then when you implement it, it's not always there.
Yes.
So we had challenges on tweaking it. And I think as customers came in, what worked, what didn't. And over the last 9 years of TikTok, that is something that, like myself, I've heavily been involved in all aspects of the operations to creating the games. And when we implemented that, I think there was a lot of things that we had to connect together. So it did take months to change it and get it right, and add them wow moments and where customers feel satisfied. But I feel like we've got there now. I feel like the experience, it is phase one. It is something that we started to introduce the library to customers. And I feel like now customers are getting the actual vision and they're seeing where we're going with it. So yeah, so that's where we are currently compared to when we spoke to last time.
Absolutely wonderful. And how do you address, as you said, you're very different, although perhaps people will see you from the traditional sort of escape room. Are you trying to address that at the marketing level, i.e. before people come, or is it something that you introduce people to when they arrive and so they understand it is a different experience?
Honestly, marketing is not our forte.
Right.
we're not the best at the marketing. And obviously, being a small business, going out and resourcing, getting someone to do marketing, especially opening after the pandemic, we're not quite there yet. So it is myself and the team who do try our best and to try get the messaging across of what we're doing. But
Yes.
I think now more so it's when the customers come to the venue, they experience it, they see what's happening, and they see the difference between the escape room model. And again, looking at it from the like price point to a traditional escape room, you are having that one linear theme for 60 minutes where, bear in mind, in that 60 minutes, you have different types of people. And
Yes.
sometimes it's not worth for like individuals not to be there because they're not either a gamer, they just stand around and it becomes a little bit boring for them, as well as obviously then breaking props. So for us, it was like, okay, how do we change that where every single person is engaged? So our rooms, they are smaller, like time-wise. They're not in for 60 minutes. You've got, for example, we've got a bazaar room, then we've got a spaceship, and then we've got like a witch's, but so very contrasting from each other. So they're constantly seeing something different throughout their
Yes.
journey. And
Yeah.
the rooms are like the time-wise, they're a lot shorter. And rather than escaping, and we've not put time pressure on them, so they're collecting keys. So we have bronze, silver, and gold keys. And as they do the puzzles, depending on the type of puzzle they do, whether it's easy or hard, they will start getting these keys. And it's very heavily storytelling. So the whole idea behind it, this is a library, the rooms are our books, and the characters are the librarians who have lost their magic, and our customers, the customers are our recruits who go into the rooms because the librarians can't go in there to go and help them get their magic back. So that is the whole process of why they're going in, what they're getting, and how they can. So not only is it where we have that emotional side of the character being heavily involved, where the customer or the recruits they feel like they have to do this for the librarians. So it's not where you get greeted by a game host, you go and do your thing and you're trying to escape, etc. So I think it's, for us, it's more of a personal experience, a memorable experience, and everyone's engaged. So even if there is someone who's not a gamer, they can interact with the characters throughout the process and feel engaged. And what we find with children, it's amazing because all they want to do is talk to the characters.
Wonderful.
So if you do come as a family, you are getting that immersive theatre element, as well as obviously gameplay in the rooms, but everyone is engaged. And before you know it, you're like, is the time up? And also for our own team, they're usually like, "Oh, that's gone really quick," because you're constantly
Brilliant.
moving and you're constantly engaged. And from obviously the last few years being in this industry, for myself, it was like, how do we do that? And I think this is how you do it. We've kind of captured it through different elements, and for the customers to be engaged within the Library of Broken Books. So obviously I've spoke about the Library of Broken Books. This isn't something we're just going to leave to creating more books. The vision now has got a lot bigger from when I
Great.
previously spoke. So for me, obviously, this is an experience, but now the more I've explored, the more I've worked on things. As it's not a linear experience, we can branch this out however we want. So
Brilliant.
we can go off on different storylines. We can turn restaurants into immersive settings with the library. We can have cafes, drinks around certain storytelling. We can add the education element to it. So bring in the students, do the literacy with them, educate people through our games, which we always have in the past with TikTok Unlock games. For us, it's always about how do we educate people through certain puzzles and
Yep.
the combinations we have. And it's a whole new world. It can become a whole new world of storytelling, but it's about the way we want to take it. So so I think the more we dig deep into it, we think it can be a theme park of its own.
Well, it was interesting. That was the sort of thing I was thinking when you were talking. It's very much with that sort of interaction with characters and stuff. I guess that was certainly the sort of imagery that I was picking up. So obviously you've had a few challenges, and you know, as we were talking before we started, that business, you know, growing businesses, that's a feature of growing businesses to have challenges. What are some of the wins that you'd say, you know, that you've achieved over since we last met?
My team.
Wow,
Definitely
great.
my team. I have a great team. I'm a big believer on you treat your team well, your team will make miracles happen, and I feel like that's what I have.
Great.
And it's hard to find people who are going to take on your vision and implement that the way you want it. Not only implement it, also to throw their own input and how we can work together to better the experience. And I think the team that I have, we have them from different fields, from like an artist to, again, they have the acting background, but very different creative backgrounds. So combining everyone together, that just makes the experience 10 times better. So I think for me, definitely having a team who's good at what they do and takes on everything it's been a joy to work with them.
Wonderful. Absolutely. That's great to hear. And I totally agree. You know, business is the fundamental of a business is a great team. And how good are you at celebrating your wins and celebrating the things that go right?
Not that good, to be honest. Not great. I would like to do more, but I think I think now as a team, and even myself, I've had to learn to take on them little wins and just kind of take it in and be happy with it, because we've had so much downfall. And I think that takes a lot of your energy. But then the littlest wins actually brings up the morale of the whole team. So it's not like we go out and it's like, yes, we've done a great job and let's do this. I think just between us and the group chats that we have, I'm kind of bigging at each other up. Just that makes it really satisfies us and really thinks that we want to do more now. And for us, it's about when we hear and see customers having a good time. That is something that makes us go, do you know what, that's a win for us. Because seeing, like we've had in the past, we've had it, and recently again, we've had different generations come. And when you see these different generations in one area or one room, and they're having fun, I think that's the key to our success, where that makes us happy and we want to do more of that. And for us, even as TikTok, my vision always has been, it's not been this is a business, we need to make money for this. For me, it's been create memories that are going to last forever. And that's what we're about. And I feel like that's what my team is creating at the moment.
Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. And it's great that you are, because it's very easy when we're in that sort of growth cycle to just focus on what we've got to do. But if we don't celebrate the wins, even you know, just acknowledge the fact that we're doing well, it can be quite difficult when things go wrong. We haven't got a lot to draw, you know, that strength is, yes, but we're doing a good job, you know, and we know we're doing a good job because of these things happen. So it's really key. So what might be some of the things you've learned from these new both challenges and wins and successes that you've had?
I think for me as an individual, it's looking at the people who are providing these experiences and making sure their health and well-being is good. And I think after coming out of the pandemic, there's a lot of people who are still struggling with that. And for me, it's to check in and make sure that they're okay, and how I can further help them. Because like I previously said, with obviously the pandemic, like we were fortunate in position we were, but recently I've learned that even about myself, working remotely by myself, it can be a struggle, and sometimes you need people to speak to. And I've recently started, I joined a board of governors, part of my children's school and a trust, and local to where I am. And that really helped me because I forgot how to kind of working remotely constantly day in, day out, and having a family and young children, you forget that you need people to talk to. And to explore and also grow, because when you're on your own, you're not really growing, right? So when you're in a room with people and from different backgrounds, you grow, you learn. So I think that's something that for me has been the whole mental health side throughout this process, and over the last year has been quite crucial, because I felt it, and I know that there's my staff who are there day in, day out, and for me that's been crucial to do.
Brilliant. No, that makes all the sense, and and as I say, I agree with you. I think the legacy of lockdown, the fact that we are much more working remotely, and therefore more isolation, needs to be adjusted and allowed for on a regular basis. So you probably remember from last time, I do like to pick up favourite quotes or sayings. Is there anything that you're using at the moment on a regular basis that you'd like to share?
I'm just trying to think. Again, treat people the way you want to be treated, and I think that's always been whether, because I know a lot of the team always speak about, we've had people who worked for us gone away wanting to come back and gone, I absolutely hate my job where I am and we want to come back. And for me, it's like I always say, I will give you that opportunity, but don't come back for the sake of thinking you've been comfortable. And I think like recently, with over the last few years, we have had individuals saying they want to leave. And I know, and I've been in that position because I ran the games, and there's so much you can do until boredom hits. And I've always said to anyone, even when I hire them, when you get to that stage of you feel coming to work is a chore, tell me, and I will help you move on.
Yeah, great.
Because I don't want to have someone who feels stuck in a job and then doesn't provide the experience that the customers want or we want from them, and they don't give their best. Where I prefer saying, okay, let's find you what you're going to really enjoy, and because otherwise that's where the mental health issue comes, right? Because then you are constantly being like, okay, what's good? So that's whenever I hire, it is something that I will make our team aware that constantly talk. Let's see where you're at. Because individuals need to grow, and if they feel they're stuck in a job with us and they're not growing, then you need to move. And I would say that to anyone. And that's then for me to see what I need to do in my business to bring on more people for my business to grow.
Yeah. That makes absolute sense. And,
Yeah.
what else have you learned about yourself?
Okay, what have I learned about myself? The imposter syndrome is real. It really is. And like I say, I think because when you work on your own day in, day out, and you don't realize what you've achieved. And recently, obviously, I was selected part of Innovate UK in 2017 to go to Boston as part of the 7 entrepreneurs. And that obviously was a huge achievement at the time. So recently, I got invited back, part of the International Women's Day. And I first thought, like I always thought, being a female founder, it's it's always been difficult. I'm not going to lie, it has been difficult. Whether you're going through the investment stage, whether you're dealing with, like recently, I've learned that even with the managing company of our venue, being a woman founder,
Yeah.
it's they will relate. Like I've actually been through it where they will speak to my business partner because he's a male than myself. And
Right.
I've experienced that throughout the few years, but it's something that I just kept a blind eye and I thought maybe it's just me thinking that. But after going to a lot of the conferences and speaking to other women founder and to find out actually it does happen and it wasn't just me,
Yeah.
and just the achievements that I've had, not really thinking about. Recently I have had to write down my thoughts and see, okay, what have I done over the last few years when I set up my own business, I've become an entrepreneur. And there's been several startups that I've done, and they've been successful. I've got media coverage worldwide around them. But it doesn't still feel enough that I have done that. And then to kind of think, oh, wow, that is a lot. And every year there has been something I've launched, whether it's this part of my business or I've launched something. And whether it was during the pandemic, there was always something I was working on. So I think kind of now going, actually, that's an achievement, what we have done, and looking back at it. But when you don't write it down and you don't really acknowledge that, and you think, yeah, it's been done, it's in the past, I've moved on. But that
Yeah.
past is the past and it has history now of what we've
Yeah.
done. So I think that, like, where I've learned now to kind of take time for myself and put myself forward and say, I have done this, I can do this, and I will do this. So
Great.
I think now for me, I'm a little bit more, I need to come out of this bubble of I can't do it. I'm already doing it, but I want to help other people. I want to help especially for me now, obviously going to a lot of conferences, helping other women, helping
Great.
other women achieve what they want to know. And where before, where you didn't hear these stories, you thought it was just yourself who were going through this. But now the more I hear it, and I'm like, I want to help people in my story because I've been through it, and you can do it, and we need to do it. So I think with the whole women empowerment, I think it's made me kind of go, actually, I need to do more. I need to step out more. I need to network more. And yeah, and just to get myself out there, and also hear other stories and see where we're at. And
Great.
yeah, so I think I need to
Absolutely.
spend more time on me now. That's what it's about.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah,
Well, we always say our business is a reflection of its owner. So
yeah,
it's and of course the great Jim Rohn always talks about working harder on ourselves than we do in our job or our business. And so that makes absolute sense. So looking forward, what does the future look like for you guys? What are the main challenges you face, if any?
So we are obviously we're still going the ongoings with the venue that we're currently, that is a
Yep.
challenge at the moment. We are in talks to see where we can go with this.
Yep.
But I do have that vision of the library of broken books to be big. I am looking for investors, whether I have been in talks with a few investors in the Middle East. But I am obviously, for us, it's having the right investor on board. I've been through that
Yep.
cycle. I've been through, but it's making sure that they buy into our vision and what
Great.
we want to do.
Great.
Um, so yeah, I am currently looking, whether it's in the US, Middle East, UK, to expand. I'm looking on to bring investors on board and hopefully roll out the experience. And like I said, it's a whole new world where it can be a theme park, it can be anything you want it to be. It's not a linear experience, whether you put parts of it in a shopping center, whether you put parts of it in gym in a cafe, you can do that. You can connect the stories wherever you are. I am currently working on another project as well. So yeah, so it's obviously that's one side of what I'm doing, but as I previously mentioned, I joined a board of governors for a trust, and I was looking a lot into SEN. So I took on the SEN lead with SEN children. So I am in the process of, which I'm launching within the next 2 weeks, of EdTech. I'm creating a platform to personalise education for SEN children using AI as a tool. So that's so I've been exploring AI for quite some time now. So whether it's going to be with TikTok in our own business and our own games, but there is a huge gap with obviously being a governor, seeing the stats, seeing the lack of support these SEN children have. Talking to families, it's quite an emotional roller coaster actually for a lot of people. So it's really kind of touched me, and the more I looked into it and how we can help SEN children, it's so we're in the process of doing our first case studies within the next couple of weeks. So how we can help them using AI and personalize their education, and see results, and also for parents to cut the frustration that they currently have, and where they can do it at home. So yeah, so I'm a bit busy, but again, I am looking for investment for that as well. So we are at pre-seed round. So yeah.
I've got we'll talk afterwards. I'm attending a 2-day investment conference in Leeds.
May the 23rd, 24th?
21st, 22nd. Yes, that's correct.
So am I.
I'm 23. Wonderful. Well, we'll see each other there. That's that.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Sorry, I also had coming in that. So I got selected on Fund Her Leads.
Right. Yeah.
I got selected on Fund Her Leads last month. So I had 5 sessions with them. So I did go in with TikTok Unlock, but then obviously I had started my new Learnable. So I was like, okay, shall I just do this, get it pitch ready? And I just went with Learnable. So that's where we got the free tickets to go to this conference. So they've, so.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's going to be great. I know the guys that are organising it. It's going to be quite amazing. So I'll look forward to seeing you there. Well, Sam, again, thank you so much for your time. It's really exciting times, obviously, and you don't stop moving and growing and changing, and it's great to see it. But for anyone that's interested in contacting you or coming on to your experience, what would be the best way of contacting you or the business itself?
So you can contact me via email, which is sam@tiktokunlock.com, or you can reach out to us just to also make you aware that we are currently working on doing speed dating for networking.
Right.
So, it's something that's kind of organically grew for us through our own customers, corporate clients. So we obviously, as a founder, I hate networking. I hate it. And I realize I am an extrovert, but when it comes to networking, I'm an introvert. Okay. I hate walking into a room with just loads of random faces and starting that initial conversation. I absolutely hate it. The fear and anxious I have in me is unbelievable. So we've recently started doing, so rather than being a cold networking event where we introduce people through speed networking, where they get to share their information, find out about each other, and then move on, and also through our games. So it's something that we're looking to do for founders, so they can get together, and we are the ones who connect them to talk. So rather than them feeling that they can't do it, won't do it, how can we connect them to talk through our games and our storytelling? So that is something that we are introducing for networking events.
Wonderful. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that too. Obviously, lots and lots going on.
Yeah.
So Sam, thank you again. Thank you so much for your time. And again, perhaps in another 6 months we'll catch up again and just see where the next stages of your development are.
No, that's great. Thank you so much for your time, Chris. Thank
Thanks, Sam.
you. Thank you.